I guess a little confusion out there on the right tools to have. I can just tell you that, in my opinion, just invest in a decent quality tool and it pays its dividends over the years. The brand that Slucker Corner puts in their maintenance kit, the Wera, these are great wrenches. I've had mine 3, 4, 5 years now. Just not an issue. And they're not all that crazy expensive either. I mean, these kits range in between $15 to $22. And you just can't ask for anything better than that, especially when you're getting that kind of good quality. And what I like about what Slucker Corner's done is they have it broke down here, by manufacturer: Thunder Slot, Revel Slot, NSR, Scale Auto, and good old Slot It, and then finally the deluxe kit that has the two most popular hex wrenches, the 09, the 13, 050 wrenches in there. Something that you need also is your lubrication for your gears, and it's all in there. So they've taken the confusion out of this thing. Just like I said, take your time, do yourself a favor. If you're just starting out, just invest in a decent quality tool, and like I said, it'll pay its dividends back over time. And with tools, another number one, soldering irons. Now I can tell you, I've had this Weller for 14 years. It still works, and I'll still recommend it all day long. I have one back here brand new in the box. I take it out once in a while when I have other people here. It's still in great shape. It's got a smaller iron, smaller tip than this one does. Still working. What's the key is adjustability. You don't want the iron to get too hot. That's when they start burning the solder. It just makes things difficult. Being able to turn it down, I usually leave it right here around 3. And being adjustable is key. Also, you can get any iron and plug it into this station here. You don't have to have a special connection for these Weller Red units. They work great. You can even get a even cheaper iron at Walmart or anywhere and plug it into here. And you can adjust that heat down, and guess what? If you're looking at trying to just take the wires off a motor or something, it's going to do the job. That's not saying that a higher quality Heiko unit isn't worth your investment over time. You get into this hobby, you want to do some more advanced scratch building, a really good iron like this, well, it's going to be the one and done. You get this, an iron like this, and that's a couple decades worth of work. I've had some of these Heikos, 25 years I've seen people with them. So nothing against them. Weller, Heiko, whatever brand you choose, just remember one thing. It's kind of like a camera, all right? It's not going to work miracles. You're going to have to take your time. You're going to have to practice. You're going to have to learn how to solder, come up with your own techniques, and then, you'll be able to create, some really beautiful slot cars if you want to. But at first, just starting out, you're just looking to get those lead wires off the motor, some light duty soldering. Just invest in a half decent iron that'll serve you well. And I really can't, just can't ignore the value that Weller brings to the table. And real quick, we'll talk about setup blocks. Just again, invest in a decent aluminum setup block from a reputable company, Slucker Corner, LEB Hobbies, PCS. They all make some really good setup blocks, and they are flat. Don't trust pieces of wood. Wood will just warp over time. You just want something that's going to stay flat, and good old aluminum like this is the key. I've only had this thing for 8 years now. So when you're checking all 4 corners, putting your car there just to make sure everything's flat and true, a good quality setup block is worth the investment. And yes, pinion pullers and presses, you got to have them, and don't skimp. Again, invest in a decent quality one. Slot It, Slot Invasion, Huddy, all these brands, Slotting Plus, and Scale Auto too, make really good top quality tools for this job. Just do yourself a favor. Again, invest the first time and it'll last. I think I've had this 18 years. I think this one, 9 years. Did they cost a little bit more than a cheap piece of plastic? Yes, but they're still here and they get the job done. Now, this isn't for everybody. We've talked about these before, but having a magnifier, that goes a long way. I know some people prefer the goggles. Then buy the goggles. I mean, if you want to bring them back and forth to the track to be able to see, that's fine. But I still like having a permanent one right here on the workbench, especially the ones that are lighted like that. They just help so much. So you may not need one now. Just something to think about for the future. Not that you'd get old or anything. Another tool that's common that you hear us talking about is a Dremel. This one here is the cordless Dremel Lite. I like the cordless the best. There's so many different types out there, but I like the ones with the adjustable speed. That's just priceless. I also have the older Dremel Micro back here, and those are great tools. They've served me well. I've had them for quite a long time. Next up, I'd say something that's important is a good old pin vise. Putting your micro drill bits into things like this, just comes in handy, especially when you're scratch building and you just got to get that mountain hole for your chassis. There's nothing like a good pin vise. They're all over Amazon, eBay, even your local tool shop. They're going to have them. And finally, I've had a few questions. Yes, I think you should have a good work mat where you're going to do your work. And these silicone work mats that you see all over Amazon and online, they are worth it. They're pretty tough. So if I were you, I would invest in it. I like the fact that they have the little magnets inside the rubber here, and it'll hold all these screws. That's just really, really handy. If you like separate parts trays, Sucker Corner has these miniature trays. I really like those where I put my shims and everything. But since the shims are colored by them, I'm guilty. I just kind of ball them up right here and just use them out of there. But yes, one of these silicone mats is outstanding to have. And scratch building, yes, you guessed it. In my opinion, the honeycomb board, it's very economical and it does the job. Anyhow, just a few word on tools. If you have any questions, comments, you know the deal. Just give me a holler.